Hello, Demsley, my bro. Hello, how are you? I'm making a cup of tea. Okay. How are you, my bro? Go and get my spoon from the kitchen. I've sent you a message. Okay. I sent you a message earlier. It was 40 minutes almost, like 39 minutes or something. A message I made for you, and I was like basically talking about my feelings towards the competition fighting and that, and how I support you no matter what. I really do. Stick by your side and okay. But it's like myself, I wouldn't have the confidence myself to do it. So anyway, but passion, mental fucking. I mean, as in insanely, I would have a little bit of passion to do it. It's like I tell you why, because I went to the kickboxing before, and there was one time where we actually went to an event like that, and we watched multiple kickboxing schools, like and martial arts schools. I think there was some taekwondo there as well, I think actually, and they was like together competing against each other, and it was like really underground old school. And I'll tell you how underground old school it was. The one I went to watch, right? It was actually a real, okay, bro, a real. It was properly, literally underground, an underground car park in one of the most roughest estates in London. It was one of the most well known. I forgot the name of it now. One of the proper well known for crime in that rough estate in London. It was underneath a car park. It was like dark and dingy down there. Had the rings and that. It was fucking hard. It was like plus with the Black Dragon Society. The Black Dragon. Yeah. It was, like that, but it was kickboxing. I went there, and Fred Elson advised me not to do it because at the time I was thinking to do it. Yeah, I was mad actually. That's back then, bro. Back when I was actually doing the kickboxing. Right? That's a bit of a story for you there. And I wanted to do it actually, and I was saying, should I do it or not? I was thinking, should I go in for it? People were going in for it. I said, should I go in for it? And Fred was saying, he said, well. He said, I wouldn't if I was you just yet. He was saying, because you use skill and that, you should practice more. And he said, if you're not that confident in saying that. I remember talking to one of the other instructors, there was one of the younger ones, Gavin, his name was a fucking, I don't say Azimut, but he was hardcore, the guy, really was fucking hardcore as a martial artist as well. Isn't that, but I'm just saying, right, he was like, well, got to toughen up on you and all this, and so he knew that I was like, absolutely like, so bloody weak and that weakest link. But it was like Fred Elson was literally, bro. He was like more nice and really like not genuine. But he said I wouldn't go in for it if I was you. Just especially if you're not that confident. He said, and he said, you work on your skills, work on your training. I think he was there for me, bro. He really cared, He was a very very good teacher. Really like that Fred Elson was. And at that time, I was thinking of doing it as well, be it a little bit. Part of me wanted to go in for it. But I went to this thing, we all got there, I forgot how we went there, like me and our coach or something, we arrived there, it was like fucking, I was like, in my mind, because, at that time I was watching so much, Jet Li, The One, fucking Kiss of the Dragon, and all that, what I mean, all the movies, I love it, and at that time I was thinking, have you seen, like, Cradle to the Grave, like, with Jet Li, bro? When he has to fight against the MMA fuckers, and all that, and blood sport, like we like, like kickboxing. It was like, it was the shit, man. When was that? Hold on 1 second, yeah. But I'm just saying, all of that. You got blood sport, you fucking very much die, fucking Cradle to the Grave, The One and that. But I was like, it was dark, I was cool. And basically, I was thinking about that. But what happened is I enjoyed watching it, and I remember sitting right up near the back or so, or sitting in the seats watching, the fights. And I was hoping people would film it up and that, And I wanted to video it, and I was really fucking pissed off because I didn't have a video camera with me. That's what happened. Yeah, I remember now. People were filming it up, and I don't think I ever got footage of the actual what people were filming up, and that. And there was one guy, right? I'll tell you his name, right, bro? There was one guy whose name was Richard. His name was Richard, right? And he was a big, tall guy, bald head, tough, like sug out fucking Tong Po, like a bit like your what do you call it? A bit like fucking Jimmy, but I say he's a really big, tough guy. Really was like big. I mean, he's tough. He was been there for years. He must have been in his, I don't know. That's my wife talking over there. Sorry, on the game over there. I'm just just saying about just saying about bro. He was like, he must have been around 30, 40 or something, 30 something to 40. He was getting a bit on in his age, but he was like so big and tall. He was like mounting, fucking towering over people. When he was sparring in the place, everybody was afraid to spar with him because he was just such a brutal fucking Muay Thai. He looked like a proper, isn't it? And he was sparring with like the expert, like the instructors and stuff, high ranking, he'd been there for years and that. But anyway, this guy though, he was like one of ours. He was our secret weapon sort of thing. We was going in, and we was going in there though, And he was, I remember like, we were cheering him on, and it come to his fight. There was a few fights in there we saw, and other events. I think it was already going when we first got there. It was already started in that. But he went in for a fight, and what happened was, I remember he ended up injuring his leg or so, or his foot. He fell down, or I tried to do a move or a kick, or he ended up getting hit. I forgot what happened. And he ended up trying to do something fancy, or he fell over or something. He hurt his leg, and he had to rest for a while. And I remember Fred Elson was so good, no fucking word of a lie, bro. Fred Elson was always giving people advice, having a joke, and in the change rooms and stuff, though, And he was talking to people whenever people had injuries, or even like that guy Richard, massive fucking Richard, who was like, he was really like, he took to Fred as well. Everybody looked down. Fred was the Mr. Miyagi of the fucking place, you know what I mean? And they all valued and respected him, bro. And basically, that particular one, that big Richard, and I remember, I think it was him, I'm pretty sure it was, and Fred Elson was like saying to him, he was sitting on the bench, the big Richard and that, just getting his stuff, I don't know, ready, or I think it was after the class or something. He was talking about his leg and that from the injury that was still healing and that. But he's done it, there's different people doing it on different occasions and stuff, similar things happened. And whatever. But I remember Fred Elson was getting ready, getting his normal clothes on and that, ready to go home, like we all was. And he was saying, you just take it easy. He said, if I was you, I wouldn't do any sparring for a while. He said, he was looking out for people and stuff, you know what I mean? He used to wear glasses and that. Fred Elson, man, old school, with the headband. But I just saying, right? And he'd be epic though, But I remember that fight though, what I was going to say is that particular fight, it was either Big Richard or it was the other person, his opponent. I can't remember. I think it was Big Richard though. Done this big spinning, jumping kick, flash kick like thing, spinning kick or something. Bam, right against the ropes. This guy went flying or something. I forgot what happened. He missed or something. I forgot if it was actually on that the injury occurred, or it was when someone hit him. Because I remember someone would fly in there, fell down, but it was all go. It was all going, There's a couple of fights there, there's a couple of other ones, like slim younger guys doing these flashy kicks and stuff, Bloody, I saw another in sparring one time, I think I told you before, in sparring one time, bro, the teacher, one of the younger instructors, Gavin, the one I told you about, Gavin Anderson his name was, he kicked one of the, in sparring with one of the students, he kicked one of them in the mouth, and he had a bleeding mouth. You're like, sorry about it, they let it, go, it's alright though, So, one injury I once had as well was when I was sparring with someone, I was backing up, and I must have stepped in a funny angle on my foot, because we were bare feet, of course. The corner of my left ankle to the side of my heel of my foot, on the side, I actually cut it a bit, grazed it, cut it on a wooden skirting board. Would you call it skirting board on the bottom of the wall? Where the wall meets the floor. So a wooden, thing around the edges. I was a bit bleeding and that. We carried on, sparring as well. When I got a plaster or whatever, washed it and that. But you get injuries and stuff going on all the time, don't you, bro? Just check the time on here. So I've got a few little stories there while I'm making this tea, bro. Anyway, that's not the reason I'm making this message. The reason I'm making this message, right? I support you in everything. Well done. Just be careful of that. But the reason I'm making this message, it's not about whether or not you're going for this taekwondo thing or about my sparring and that. It's what I've done in the past. But what it is, I was going to talk to you about the blue screen that I want to do, that blue screen little film, right? In the other room, I've got my computer set up. Because I've got a lot of stuff like to do classwork and stupid bullshit on the side. Just some bits and pieces, little bits and pieces, But it's like, I'm going to try and plan a little script together to write a little film. Because earlier on, I was watching that sci-fi film. I watched it in full, the full film on YouTube. I sent you the link as well. Pretty good, worth watching that. So I kind of think that Machine is cool, but it kind of inspired me a bit. And you know, I've been watching a few bits and pieces like that online anyway, sci-fi and stuff. Hold on one second. But basically, you know, I want to do something with the blue screen, bro. You know, as well as animation and comics and stuff as well. But I want to do some of the blue screen or some film like video editing. So what I'm going to do, yeah, is I'm going to go in the room and write it like a short film. That's what I'm going to do. Write a little mini script out, not even properly. Just write it in Word first off, you know. Write a few scenes in, a few things. Work how I'm going to work them scenes, what the backstory is, and what is to set the setting and that. And think about the best possible ways I can film it up, and how to make the backgrounds, even if I have to use 3D or whatever. But I'm going to try and make it look really like good, like even if it's a short fucking thing, like really short like film, you know, like fucking, you know, whatever, man, like 5 minutes to 10 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes to 10 minutes maximum. But I'm going to try and make it look really like proper, you know, really good in it if I can, because I've got such good video editing software, bro. I've got that Hit Film 4 Express, really good it is, and other stuff, you know, and other stuff too. I can do the blue screen. I've got the 3D stuff, don't forget as well. And other editing software and that, you know. So I can put some stuff together. I'm trying to get some ideas together. What I'm going to do though, I'd like to do something sci-fi maybe. It's like I'd like to have some martial arts action and action scenes in it, but it's like hard to do, you know, to make it look proper, like not a fucking joke, you know, because I want to do some good stuff. Anyway, we'll see, bro. We'll see. I'm going to put something together, you know. We will see. I want to put some more milk in this. Oh god, I've still got some dinner to eat in the other room. I've eaten some dinner I've still not eaten. I had a bit of food earlier on and that. Put some more milk in this tea. We're going to eat that. And here Asimov outside. People being funny, because they're so funny I forgot to laugh, innit? Yeah, yeah, bro, I want to just basically say again, you know, thanks so much for that long message, okay, you made for me. 35 minutes, over 35 minutes, wasn't it? I've been watching loads of videos online of stupid yobs fighting and stuff all over the world, UK and Birmingham as well, and London and other places, Scousers, and you got America, and that's ridiculous, all the violence, and the amount of violence and youth and stuff is unbelievable. It really is. You get stabbings and awful stupid shit, you know, and drug deals and gangs fighting other gangs and idiots on the street and drunkards, wasted people who've been on drugs and they've like been taking these spice drugs and stuff, youths, and you see them like fucking laid out on the street or something, horrific scenes and just laid out, and antisocial behaviour in the night. It's just awful, you know. It's really pathetic, bro, it really is. And you got beatings and stuff, and like, what do you call it, you know, and domestic disputes. They're just ridiculous. The idiots you see, bro. And what I can't stand is people that have got a family, or people that have got a fucking, you know, got it going for them as such, but then they fuck it up, you know. It's the same as these people that are like rich, or they've got like a life growing from as such. Sorry about the noise. Aeroplane outside and tap here. You know what I mean though? They just fuck themselves up. They make the wrong choices in life. Learn by them and that, but they fucking don't. This society, as you're saying, bro, it's a fucking joke. Yeah, exactly. That's why that Jock Fresco fucking, you know, sadly, it's like, don't seem like anyone's going to really pay much attention, is it? This and that as such. Wish they would. Wish they would and that, you know, but it's just the way it is, you know. I want to say also, before I go, yeah, but not much too so. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, there. Some terrible things you've seen in the news. Some crazy young guy in the news I saw a couple of days ago, like cut his mum's head off, or so cut his mother's head off, and like, with a machete he answered the door to the police holding his mother's head, and another one holding that. And there's other people as well who've been killing their kids and wives and husbands. It's awful, isn't it? Disgusting, crazy youth of today. They don't even know what's going on. Stupid road rage as well, fights you see all around. I'm gonna stop this video now, bro. But isn't it terrible though? All the beatings and the cruelty to animals. The amount of stories I've seen last week of cruelty to animals, killing fucking animals and, you know, doing harm to animals is awful, bro. I'm going to stop this one in here. Keep it Marshall. More creative stuff to come from me. Animation, loads of good stuff, and video editing. Bow. Can't wait for your book and more books. Bow.